Soil pollution. Soil pollution, or contaminated land, occurs when soil is chemically altered in its natural environment. There are several types of causes of soil pollution. Each type poses environmental and health hazards. Causes of soil pollution. Soil pollution is most commonly caused by human activities such as industrialization, agricultural chemicals, and wastes. Soil pollution occurs as the result of intentional or accidental activities. It also occurs when natural events further disturb contaminated land. Another source of soil pollution is poor sanitation and dumping of sewage. This can lead to the growth of biological pollutants, including bacteria, fungi, viruses, and allergens. Other common examples of sources of soil pollution include oil spills, acid rain, corrosion of metallic wastes underground, mining, and waste disposal of sewage, dumping, coal ash, and electronic wastes. Oil spills in soil, such as the photo of a spill in Peru, collapse soil pores, damaging or preventing life on or in soil. Effects of soil pollution. There are many health and environmental effects of soil pollution. Some of these effects are noticeable and immediate, while other effects have long-term consequences that are not immediately obvious. Some contaminated sites are not a concern for health or environmental hazards because of the level of contaminants in the soil is very low. Other areas are more concerning if the contamination level is high and the contaminants are able to persist and/or move through the environment. The diagram below demonstrates the impact of soil pollution on various components of the ecosystem. Soils that are contaminated can leach toxic chemicals into groundwater or nearby lakes and streams. These chemicals are then taken up by plants or animals, contaminate drinking waters, and can later vaporize and be breathed in by people or animals. As you might imagine, soil pollution has a direct and significant impact on agriculture, as shown in the diagram at right. Health effects of soil pollution. Humans are affected by soil pollution when contaminants infiltrate into groundwater and that groundwater is consumed. Chronic exposure to heavy metals such as lead may possibly cause cancer. Lead poisoning is especially a concern for children because it has severe effects on mental and physical development. A high exposure to lead can be fatal. Chronic exposure to agricultural chemicals, including herbicides and pesticides, are also known to be carcinogenic, as shown through animal studies. They also may cause liver and kidney damage and have effects on reproduction. Human health is affected when people are directly exposed to soil contaminants, when the contaminants have vaporized and are breathed in, or when contaminants have been leached into groundwater and consumed. Human health is also affected indirectly by biomagnification of toxins that entered soil and water and are taken up into the food chain. If humans are exposed to high concentrations of DDT, symptoms include vomiting, tremors, and seizures. Animal studies have shown that DDT is a carcinogen. Agricultural chemicals. Common agricultural chemicals include herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, and insecticides. All of these chemicals are used to kill organisms that compete with humans for food. While these chemicals are helpful for farmers to preserve their crops, high concentrations of these chemicals can cause short and long-term health effects. When high concentrations of these chemicals are in water and soil, they become part of the food chain and have effects on animals and the ecosystem, as shown at the right. Biomagnification. As shown in the earlier example of mercury and water pollution, biomagnification refers to the increasing concentration of a toxin within the tissues of organisms. When they eat other organisms with the toxin becomes more concentrated as it moves through the food chain. In the image, the toxin is represented by a plus sign. The toxin becomes more concentrated as it moves from grass to mouse, mouse to snake, and snake to hawk. This slide shows biomagnification and toxins moving through the food chain. Biomagnification starts when toxins enter the food chain through small organisms that take it in from contaminated soil or water. These toxins are slowly metabolized or broken down within these organisms. So, When the smaller organisms are consumed by the larger ones, the toxin is consumed as well as is concentrated in the larger organisms. Dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethane, or DDT, is a toxin that biomagnifies. This insecticide, once widely used in protecting crops, is now banned in many countries. Other toxins that biomagnify include PCBs and heavy metals such as illustrated by mercury. DDT biomagnification. DDT starts at 0.04 ppm in algae, rising to over 13 ppm in humans, a harmful level. PCBs. Polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs, are large organic compounds that were once manufactured to be used as electrical insulators and coolants in electrical apparatuses such as transformers. They were also used to make plastics more flexible, adding to paint to make it dry softer and less brittle, and as a coating on bridges, water tanks, and other large pieces of infrastructure. PCBs were desired for their stability, low flammability, and insulation properties. Prior to the 1960s, they were produced globally, and 1.2 million tons were produced. Manufacturing has since been banned after the toxic effects of PCBs were discovered. However, they are still in use today. PCBs are now present in soil in many countries all over the world. Industrialization. In developed countries, industrialization has historically been a major source of soil pollution. Developed countries now have regulations to reduce the environmental impact of industry. In countries that are developing, industrial activities are often unregulated. Factories in industrialized nations require large amounts of energy and produce lots of waste. Coal has been, and still is, a major source of energy. Coal is burned to provide heat that can be used for ore smelting, metal production, cement production, chemical production, and generating electricity. When coal is burned, heavy metals such as lead and zinc are concentrated in its ash, along with polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, chemicals that are known to cause cancer. The coal ash with these chemicals, if not disposed of properly, will become part of the soil.